This is our environment. It's ours to win or lose. And, quite frankly, Kathy, you're a beacon of hope. You are my guiding light. And the reason why I put one foot in front of the next and do so with a smile on my face. And if only we had more, I love you too. If we only had more people doing what you do, this would be so much easier. And all of you folks, I encourage you to really start thinking about what you can do. It's not just sit back, it's going to happen. It's not that time. It's sit back, let's secure the win. This is our win to make, not just in Arizona, not just in Colorado, not just in Oregon or Washington, D.C. or Alaska. We have a lot on the books right now, and we need to make it happen. We need to have those conversations, those uncomfortable conversations, ones that I would have been terrified to have, that you did on her behalf. And thank you, Kathy. We're about out of time. And, I will be continuing this conversation after you guys have left. But first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for listening and sticking around for this edition of The State of Cannabis. You can download past episodes of our program by going to cannabisradio.com or by subscribing to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. You can also follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Don't forget to like and comment. I'm your host, Dave Inman. Talk with you next time.
The opinions expressed on this CannabisRadio.com program are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of CannabisRadio.com. Any rebroadcast or redistribution without proper consent of CannabisRadio.com is prohibited.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every day. Medical marijuana is my last resort, and it helps me when all other drugs have failed. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
USA Radio Sports, I'm Tammy Rose. Bradley Beal's three-pointer with 0.3 of a second left lifted the Wizards past the Spurs 102-99 at the Verizon Center. Wizards guard John Wall comments on changes he has seen in Beal this season.
I think he's just being aggressive. He's not all selling for a lot of deep twos. He's attacking the basket very well. He's using his in-between game and using floaters. And he's hot right now from 3. So, he just wants to play the way he's been playing.
Monte Ellis hit a pair of free throws with 13.7 seconds left to give the Pacers a 198 win over the Celtics in Indiana. Pacers guard George Hill says they'll take wins any way they can get them.
Definitely so. No matter what the score was, we got the win. We did what it took to fight it out. So proud of these guys, but we got to get back on Friday and take care of another game.
This is USA Radio News, powered by WesternJournalism.com.
Warning, if you or a loved one are struggling with drugs and alcohol, there's something you need to know. Thoughts like, I can stop anytime, I'm not hurting anyone, it's my life, are lies. These lies cause you to drink or get high even when you've promised yourself or someone else you wouldn't. You may feel all alone, but you're not. We're here to help. Take the first step. Call us today at 800-461-3329 for a free no-obligation assessment. Your insurance may even cover the full cost of treatment. Please don't wait. Call 800-461-3329. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Call American Drug Treatment Centers to speak with our trained staff. We'll walk you through getting yourself or a loved one into treatment even if they won't admit there's a problem. The truth is, drugs and alcohol want you dead. Don't let them win. One simple call will start you on the road to recovery. Call 800-461-3329 now. It will be the best thing you ever do. Call 800-461-3329. 800-461-3329.
Chris Middleton netted 21 points as the Bucks slipped past the 76ers 91-87 at the Bradley Center. Bucks head coach Jason Kidd says the Sixers played them tough.
Brett is going to have those guys playing hard. They've been playing hard. They've been in some games, and the ball just hasn't bounced their way. But they got some talented young players over there that play hard, and this game could have gone either way. And we were very fortunate to get some stops and then some baskets on the other end.
Dwight Howard racked up 23 points and 14 rebounds as the Rockets outlasted the Magic 119-114 in overtime at the Toyota Center. Howard says they are trying to improve every time out.
We got a long season. Like I said, it's a marathon, and I want to make sure that we get better each game. I know personally for myself, I want to make sure that each game I'm pushing myself to get in better shape.
For USA Radio Sports, I'm Tammy Rose.
We have your smoking section right here. This is the Cannabis Radio Network.
BBC News with Jonathan Izard. Britain has said it's more likely than not that the Russian airline disaster in Egypt was caused by a bomb. France has advised against travelling to the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh where the accident happened, and Dutch and German airlines have suspended flights there. But Russia and Egypt have called for caution, and Moscow criticised Britain for not sharing the intelligence on which it based its decisions. Figures released by the European Union reveal that officials are assuming that up to 3 million migrants may arrive in the EU by the end of 2017. In a separate report, the UN Refugee Agency said it expected people to continue arriving in Greece from Turkey at a rate of 5,000 a day. Mafia bosses, politicians and businessmen have appeared in court in Rome at the start of Italy's biggest anti-corruption trial for decades. They're accused of rigging contracts for public services over many years, actions that have brought the Italian capital's finances close to the point of collapse. Doctors in Britain have for the first time used a pioneering form of gene therapy to cure a previously irreversible cancer. They altered the DNA inside a donor's immune cells to create for the patient a system that can hunt and kill the leukemia cells. France is to send its largest warship, the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle, to support operations against Islamic State militants and other jihadists in Syria. Paris said the vessel would shorten the time it takes French jets to carry out airstrikes. The charity Médecins Sans Frontières says its staff saw people being shot from the air as they tried to flee a hospital in Afghanistan that was hit by US airstrikes a month ago. In a review of the incident in Kunduz, MSF said its own personnel were hit while trying to reach safety. International and local human rights groups have called on the Angolan government to release 15 activists who have been in detention since June. They've been accused of preparing acts of rebellion and plotting against the president. BBC News.
MJWellness.com, the largest medical marijuana community in the world. Connect with thousands of patients, doctors, industry leaders, and businesses through shared personal experiences along our worldwide network. Discover new therapies and benefits with content tailored to you. Come grow your network on MJWellness.com. You're not alone. Your wellness matters. Learn, live, and thrive. Check out MJWellness.com today.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Rebecca Foster. British Prime Minister David Cameron has defended the suspension of UK flights in and out of Sharm el-Sheikh after talks in London with Egypt's president. Mr. Cameron and President Fattah al-Sisi discussed security at the airport in Sharm el-Sheikh after the UK claimed a bomb may have brought down a flight on its way to Russia over the weekend. UK correspondent Ollie Barrett reports.
David Cameron says the suspension of flights ordered by his government is vital and warned it may be some time before some British tourists can get home. He says it's increasingly likely a terrorist bomb caused the crash of a Russian passenger plane on Saturday with 224 on board. President Sisi, after talks at Downing Street, expressed complete understanding of the British position, but also insisted security at Egyptian airports was tightened 10 months ago at London's request and found to be good enough. Russia's described Britain's suggestions of a bomb on board the crashed jet as speculation. British Airlines say they'll start operating rescue flights from Sharm el-Sheikh on Friday for stranded UK tourists. Ollie Barrett, London.
The European Union says it expects some 3 million refugees and migrants to arrive in Europe by 2017. The predictions are continually being raised as the EU sees huge flows of people seeking sanctuary from war and conflict in countries like Syria, Iraq, and across sub-Saharan Africa. Our Europe correspondent Jack Perrock has more.
The European Commission says the 3 million people set to arrive in the EU would increase the 28 member bloc's population by around 0.4%. The UN says 5,000 people per day will continue to cross the sea from Turkey into Greece, even as the winter months set in, making the journey more treacherous. Despite the EU's Finance Commissioner, Pierre Moscovici, saying the influx could provide a boost to EU economies, many are concerned about the social and cultural ramifications of such large arrivals.
The U.S. Congress is starting months of debate over whether to endorse the recently agreed-upon Trans-Pacific Partnership. The deal, which includes 12 countries accounting for 40% of the global economy, needs to be ratified by American lawmakers. Here's our U.S. correspondent Nick Harper.
The agreement last month made history, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, becoming the largest regional trade agreement of all time. It aims to bring an end to trade barriers between 12 Pacific Rim nations. The White House argues it will boost the U.S. economy. But with the release of the final details, Congress must now digest and debate the deal before voting on it in the spring. Among the newly released details is the fact Vietnam's government has agreed to American proposals which could see reforms to the Asian country's working conditions and labour rights.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. Former U.S. President George Herbert Walker Bush is accusing some senior Republican figures of betraying the White House during the presidency of his son, George W. Bush. In a new biography, the first President Bush is witheringly critical of former Vice President Dick Cheney and former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. From Washington, Simon Marks reports.
For years, the first President Bush has offered little commentary on his son's presidency. Now he's told a biographer that former Vice President Dick Cheney became very hardline and built his own empire during George W. Bush's presidency. Donald Rumsfeld is described as arrogant, displaying swagger and a lack of humility. The claims are being published just as the president's other son, Jeb, is trying to win the Republican Party's nomination, a task the book may only complicate. Simon Marks, Washington.
And the gender wage gap exists in all sectors of work in the United States, according to a new study by PayScale, Inc. The data shows that married men earn the highest salaries and single mothers earn the lowest. Mary McCarthy has that story.
The new study shows that fathers in the U.S. earn the highest overall median salaries, over $67,000 annually. Married mothers make a median salary of $20,000 less than that, and single mothers lag significantly behind at $38,000. The trajectory of salaries is also significantly different for men and women. Men's salaries generally increase until past the age of 50, whereas women's salaries tend to plateau by the age of 40. Interestingly, education does not help alleviate the gender wage gap in the U.S. The study shows that the highest pay disparity is among people with PhDs, MBAs, and medical degrees. In Denver, I'm Mary McCarthy.
And that's the latest from Features Story News. Rebecca Foster reporting.
Legal to listen to all over the world.
We're just not sure about France.
CannabisRadio.com.
From the Sky News Centre at 7, Egypt's president says British experts said his country's airport security was good enough when they checked it 10 months ago. Flights between the UK and Sharm el-Sheikh are grounded because the British government thinks Saturday's Russian plane crash there could have been caused by a bomb. Elizabeth Williams reports.
President Sisi's visit to the UK has been dominated by one question.
President Sisi, are your airports safe?
He says they are, and Egyptian officials have condemned the UK's decision to stop flights. David Cameron insists the two countries are cooperating.
We're working intensively together.
The Russian Foreign Ministry is also annoyed.
We ask all the states who can provide this information to the Russian side, just do it.
Saying Britain's not been sharing intelligence.
Some drivers have reacted angrily after a police chief said speed cameras on part of the M1 motorway could be switched on permanently to make money. The plans in Bedfordshire could see anyone breaking the limit by just 1 mile an hour fined. Safety campaigner Claire Armstrong says the measure would be an abuse of power.
To start saying we're going to fund our force by activating the cameras permanently is an appalling way to use the equipment that's available to you. Just because it's there doesn't mean to say you should use it.
A review into the conviction of Abdelbaset Al-Megrahi over the Lockerbie bombing will not be carried out. The Scottish Criminal Cases Review Commission says it wouldn't be in the interests of justice. A court's heard DJ Neil Fox exploited his fame to sexually abuse fans as young as 14. The 54-year-old who's on trial denies 10 charges. Unions say it's devastating news that construction of a new renewable energy plant in Tees Valley